The most important game of the season is tomorrow. The teams are ready and I'm feeling optimistic. Carlo Ancelotti was asked in the press conference today if he would share his strategy and he said, quote, "There would be no surprises." That's an interesting comment that really stood out to me. It made me think in Real Madrid's last game he played a double pivot of Tchouaméni and Cruz, with Bellingham and Valverde playing in the left and right wings, creating an out-of-possession 4-4-2. That game could have been the dress rehearsal for this match. After that game, Carlo said he was pleased with our performance, but he said the team needed to increase the tempo, which might suggest that he might deploy a similar lineup as the last game with an emphasis on moving the ball more quickly. Ancelotti did say Real Madrid needs to take advantage of the game being at home tomorrow, so we can expect a more aggressive strategy. The big news is Kyle Walker and Ake did not travel to Madrid, which is a big opportunity in this game to get an advantage in the tie. The big question for Real Madrid is whether Tchouaméni or Nacho will play at center back with Rudiger. And both Rudiger and Carlo were careful not to share who would be partnering Rudiger tomorrow night. I think this game tomorrow is by far the biggest of the season. If we go into the second leg with a big advantage, and Manchester City has to be more aggressive against our squad in the second leg, they will get punished in my opinion. Arsenal showed us how to play against Manchester City away at the Etihad. But the big difference between us and Arsenal is their center back pairing are better than ours at the current moment, but our ability in transitions are simply superior. If there's one weakness from Manchester City, it's their ability to stop transition offense. And as I mentioned in my last video, we're a much different side than the one that faced City last season. When it comes to being pressed, if you take the example of the Barcelona game or the games against Mallorca or Osasuna, or any other teams that have tried to press us this season, Carlo looks to sit a little deeper in the first half, invite pressure, and look to take advantage in the second half. But also, Vinicius plays off the shoulder of the last defender, which is different than what we saw last season. It will be very important not to invite too much pressure in this game with players that are very decisive with their shots from outside the box. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is tomorrow's lineup. If I was Ancelotti, I would play the same exact side that faced Bilbao with one minor change, and that's Camavinga at left back. Last season, he was the difference maker in evading pressure and creating our only goal. I would play Nacho at center back in the game at home at the Bernabeu, with Tchouaméni at 6. If Milatao is fit for the second leg, then unquestionably, we have to start him at the Etihad. With Walker and Ake being out, City has no option but to set up their team to sit a little deeper out of possession, because they can't risk Vinicius and Rodrigo in transitions running at their team without pacey fullbacks like Walker. Tomorrow is going to be a magical night at the Bernabeu. The club has asked all the fans who are going to be in attendance to the game to all wear white tomorrow night. And the club has contacted UEFA to ask them for permission to close the roof to create a more noisy, hostile atmosphere. I will be live streaming the game tomorrow, so feel free to join me if you want to get a live reaction while I'm watching the game. And hopefully it's going to be a magical night where we destroy Manchester City. And if we can get past Manchester City in this game and defeat them decisively and make it to the semifinal, we will be at the Bernabeu for the second leg of the semifinals, whoever we face between Arsenal and Bayern Munich, which ultimately means we could potentially tomorrow have one hand on the 15th Champions League trophy a la Madrid.